The parable of the unfaithful servant, sermon number 47. The 21st Sunday after Trinity, received through Gottfried Mayr-Hofer, April 28, 1872. On many occasions I have told you that I had to interpret in detail for my disciples and other followers all that is contained in my 2 commandments of love, which are further clarified in the 10 commandments of Moses. But since I was dealing with people who desired precise guidance for every circumstance, I had to take every opportunity to either explain these commandments fully or illustrate them through parables, so that they could serve as a foundation in all situations. Therefore, in this chapter, you find from beginning to end rules of conduct, some clearly explained, others conveyed through metaphors, and parables, ensuring that my disciples and all future followers of my teaching would know without doubt how to act in various situations and how to teach others effectively. In the beginning, my disciples were still like young children, unable to comprehend the higher truths about me and my kingdom as they later did after I had poured out my Spirit upon them. Thus, you often find them asking simple, almost childlike questions. How could my disciples, who lived constantly in my presence, hearing my words and witnessing my deeds, still ask, "Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" If even they could ask such a question, you can imagine how the others thought, who knew even less. Therefore, my answer, and what follows in the next verses, is plain. I compared the simplicity of a child with the angelic nature of those closest to me. Just as my angels should not be offended, so also those of a childlike mind must not be wronged, for they are guileless, trusting all who approach them. Thus, it is the greatest sin to meet such simplicity with deceit, scorn, ridicule, or hatred. This is also reflected in the following verses, where it says allegorically that if a person's soul is governed by a passion, it is better to sacrifice that passion than to lose the soul through it. These parables were expressed in the allegorical style of that time, still common in the Orient today. After teaching that it is better to give up part of oneself than lose one's entire soul, I told my disciples of the joy I as Creator feel when nothing of what I once brought into being is lost, but everything returns to me, purified and spiritualized. This is clearly illustrated in the parable of the shepherd and the lost sheep. I also taught them how the lost can be saved through gentle help, not by wounding self-love, and gave them guidance for dealing with both stubborn and less obstinate sinners. I assured them that if 2 people united in mind and heart asked for my blessing, I would never deny it to them. For where 2 are gathered in my name, I am with them as the third, the spirit of peace and unity. I told them that the repentant brother must be forgiven, not once, but countless times, so that his betterment may be possible. If they forgave a brother in the spirit of true tolerance, I too would forgive and forget his sins. Then I gave them the parable of the unfaithful servant. To emphasize what I had already taught them in the prayer, I left them. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. By this, I wanted to prevent them from losing patience with stubborn sinners, from condemning where they should forgive, or cursing where they should bless. I used the example of the unfaithful servant to leave no room for excuses for hardness of heart. Not even a single harsh word spoken in zeal or misguided judgment. Through it, I taught them to understand my forbearance and boundless patience, showing why I let my sun rise upon the good and the bad alike, because I am the essence of love, and love does not wish to punish, but to redeem. This chapter presents a full picture of human life as it is meant to be, how man, guided by love alone, should look up to me with childlike trust, act without deceit or hidden motives, and desire nothing but to please me his father, thus becoming worthy to be called my child. It also shows that one should nurture love with the simplicity of a child, and that it is a sin to repay evil for good, shown in sincerity and trust. It teaches how love for one's neighbor should be practiced, how one should gently help a brother recognize his faults, using firm measures only when all else fails, but always forgiving, forgetting, and even returning good for evil. This chapter reveals man's entire spiritual mission, how he is to educate himself to become the child I desire, and how he is to guide his fellowmen toward me, so that in the beyond he will become what I intended from the beginning, my own image. Read and understand my Gospels in this spirit. Then my grace will enlighten you, and you will no longer see only the hard bark of the tree of life, but recognize the divine truth hidden within. To grasp what is concealed from worldly eyes requires spiritual vision and deep understanding. In this way, the Bible becomes a living source of light and help in every circumstance of life. For more than 1,000 years, this book has preserved the greatest treasures, mankind's guide for all time, proving how I ensured that nothing of my word would ever be lost. Soon, people will be asked more earnestly whether they know why they are here and why I came to earth. The time has come to strip away the bark of literal words and reveal the radiant stream of divine light beneath, so that even now they might still awaken and fulfill their neglected mission. This is why I give so many explanations, interpretations, and these Sunday sermons, so that no one may say they did not know or understand. I am the God of light, love, and wisdom. When I return, no darkness shall exist beside me. Therefore, it must become light in every human heart. All must learn to love, to use that love, joined with wisdom, in service to one another. The purpose of my words, my warnings and all, my striving is to make you into my children, and to restore the world once more into a paradise, as it was in the beginning, where there is no hate, anger, or mockery, but only love, peace, and tranquility among all beings. Then man, the final work of creation on earth, will again unite within himself all divine attributes. So it shall be, and everything must strive toward this. Strive to fulfill your mission, you and all mankind, by perfecting yourselves as much as you can. Do all in your power to lead others to the same goal. Then my words will not be wasted upon you, and you shall become worthy to be called my children, and in the beyond. Find the Father who now seeks to save his lost sheep with such love and patience, even here on earth. Amen.